Hey everybody, what's up and welcome to Guns N' Roses Central, and I just wanted to build upon the video I did yesterday where I talked about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and some of the bands you may be surprised who aren't actually inducted yet. So today I want to talk about next year's Rock Hall and let you know which bands will be technically eligible. So these aren't about bands that are already eligible who have been snubbed. These are bands who it'll be at least 25 years since their first album was released. And some of these made me feel so old because it just seems like yesterday that a lot of these bands just came out. And I want to know from you guys, which one of these bands do you think have a chance to actually be inducted next year? I think most of these won't be inducted. I think there's a good chance that some of them will be. So the first band I want to take a look at is Bush. So Bush released their album 16 Stone in 1994. And, you know, they're a band that a lot of critics don't like. They kind of came after the whole grunge explosion. And a lot of people don't like Bush. I don't think they really stand a very good chance of being inducted, at least on the first round. Maybe some years down the road they will be, but I think the chance of them being inducted next year is very, very low. Now, I actually like Bush. I like a number of their songs, but I know a lot of people don't. So let's take a look at the next band. The next band is Cake, and I know this is a band that has a pretty strong following, and it was kind of funny. They were always labeled as like alternative rock, but they borrowed from so many different genres that I don't know if that's an accurate label. I think they're a great band. I just don't think that they have the following to actually be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but I'd like to know from you guys if you think that'll be the case. This next band is always labeled as an alternative rock band, and some people credit them with the whole emo scene that gained prominence in the 90s and early 2000s. And they're still really active recording, and you hear their songs on the radio all the time. So this one's Jimmy Eat World, and they're definitely, I don't think they'll be inducted next year, and I think they've still got a lot of life in them. They kind of remind me of Green Day in some respects. Like Green Day was still really active whenever they got inducted, and I think Jimmy Eat World is going to be recording music for a long time. I think they will be inducted at some point, but I think next year is going to be way too soon for them. So this next band I think stands the best chance out of any of the bands who are going to be eligible next year. And I know a lot of people have differing opinions on this band, but Oasis will be eligible. And if you guys looked at what happened with Guns N' Roses and some of the other bands the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has inducted, they sort of try to get bands to get back together, and they failed with Guns N' Roses. I'm curious if Oasis does get inducted, what's going to happen. I know that's going to make for a very interesting ceremony, and I would be curious to see who would induct them. I think it would be very interesting if Lars Ulrich inducted them because he's a pretty big Oasis fan. So the next one, and this one made me feel old, is Marilyn Manson. And regardless of what you feel about his music, I think this is going to be one of the artists that's going to bring out the strongest opinions from both ends in terms of whether he should be actually inducted. And I think this one will be an interesting one. I wouldn't be surprised maybe if he got on the ballot on the initial nominee list, but I definitely don't think he'll be inducted. And he's like another artist who's still very active. He's got a new album that came out recently. He's still touring. So I do think he will be inducted for sure. It's just I don't think 2019 is going to be that year. So this next artist I think stands one of the best chances of being inducted. This is Outkast, and I think they're one of the more original hip-hop artists of the last 25 years, and they've stayed relevant for a very long time. Even when I remember they reunited at Coachella, that was like a huge deal. So I think that they really may not have to do a whole lot in order to get inducted. And so the next one may shock a lot of people, and these guys will definitely not be inducted. Papa Roach. If you guys remember, I posted an interview a couple of weeks ago of how Papa Roach opened for Guns N' Roses, and they really did not like Axl's whole attitude thing. But, you know, to be honest, these guys I don't think they'll ever get inducted. The next band I think will definitely be inducted, or at least they'll be on the ballot for sure next year, and that one is Weezer. Now, I know they have a pretty big following, but I feel like they realistically only have 2 really good albums, and they have like a string of decent songs along the rest of their discography. And then the last artist, who I don't think will be even inducted for a very long time, but they're still really active, is Usher. So those are some of the artists. These aren't all the artists. There's still a lot of other artists who will be eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame next year. If I've missed any of them, put them in the comment section below, and let me know whether you guys agree with my list. Thanks for watching, everybody. Just want to give you a reminder, there'll be a podcast today at 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having another guest joining us today, and yeah, so we'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe if you want to stay up to date on all things related to Guns N' Roses. Take care.